Assalamualaikum to Sir Ferdinand, my 3D modern lecturer. My name is Muhammad Amir Haziq bin Muhammad Faisal, CD20096, and I'll present to you my garage scene. So starting with my modeling, I use some modeling techniques such as extrude, bevels, insert edge loops, smooth, and bridge, and also Boolean different. I use bridge as example for my garage desk. I use insert edge loop such as my car, my spanner to custom my objects or models. I use move to make my tire look smooth because tire don't have sharp edges. I also use Boolean different to make a hole in my small chair. So the texture I use in my scene, mostly every texture I use in my scene is from Adobe Substance to make my scene looks realistic. Moving on to the types of lighting I use, I only use one type of lighting, which is area light. I have 4 area lights here, meshed with the fluorescent light, and each of these area light have the same intensity. As you can see in here, the first area light and the second area light, the first until the 4th area light is still 40,000, and the exposure is 3,000. Why I add the exposure? Because I want to make it multiple, because it's not bright. So by doing this, my scene is enough. The 4 area light is enough to bright my scene, not too much and not too dim. So moving on to the types of camera I use. In my scene, I have many cameras such as close-up, and the first one is low angle. I use this low angle to make my character, the first character, look big, come into my scene. And then the second camera is the medium shot. The medium shot is taken from the waist until the head. And then I use high angle to see what's the character doing, because the character is climbing the ladder and she accidentally fall. And then moving on, after she shouts, her mom came in with a new camera, which is point of view camera, this is the camera. Yes, this is the camera which is the point of view of her mom, of her mother. So after that, after the mom came in, and then I use close up with a focus effect in my camera to convey my character that was crying. So that was the only camera I used. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cameras and 5 types. And 5 of them are different. So moving on to the animation. So the animation principle that I use, I have some animation principle that I use, such as anticipation. I use low camera angle for this kind of animation principle. So anticipation is an animation rule that gives a clue to the audience. So in my scene, I use this character to show anticipation. When the character moves her body to the right, so it will give the audience a clue that the character will go to the right. And then I also have staging. For the staging, I use high camera angle. So the character will come in and go to the ladder, and the character will climb and fall down. So after the character fall down in my scene, I will make the ladder move. the effect after the character fall down. So the audience will focus on one place, which is the character will fall down, and then the audience will see the ladder moving a bit. So moving on to the next animation principle that I use is follow through. Follow through is used when the character is walking. You can see in here, such as low angle. The character, I use perspective. So the character will walk with follow through because the hands and the forearm will move in opposite direction and following the walking cycle animation principle, such as this. You can see the wrist of the hand and the forearm is different. They're moving in different way. So moving on to the next one is pose to pose. I also use pose to pose to make my animation, such as I use when falling down from the ladder. Pose to pose is easy because I set the first keyframe on the ladder, and then I set the last keyframe when falling down, and then I adjust at the middle of the frame, which will arrange my animation. So after that, I also use arc. Arc is used when walking animation in my scene, because when humans walk, our legs will move in arc direction. As you can see, the leg will lift, and then the leg will lift first, and then after the leg will change. And then the next principle is timing. So I use different timing. When the character from the door until here, I use different timing. This is 25 frames. And after the character move to my medium shot, this timing is different because the distance between here and the door is different. It is short, so I only use 25 frames. So in here I use about 40 above frame in the medium shot, because the distance is far. As example, from the door, that 25 frame until here, it requires many frames. So that was timing. So I also have slow in and slow out. I apply this principle in here when the character is finding for something, searching for something. She was walking slowly, and then after she got something or got an idea, she will go faster. This is slow and slow out. So the lesson that can be learned from my scene is parents should be aware of what will happen in the house, such as they can prevent from what happens. That's because our title is prevention is more better than cure. The mother should have closed the door, not letting it open like in the animation, or she should lock the door, or otherwise the parents should put the ladder at a safety place after using it. This is carelessness of parents, because the daughter is still small and she doesn't know anything. So the parents should watch for their children. So I think that's all from my garage scene. Thank you, Sir Ferdainawan.